Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Tone's Market Analysis for Wednesday, July 5th. Hope everyone had a good 4th of July holiday if you are in the US. I had to restart my computer to get this live stream going. Totally forgot my line tag. Let me do that real quick right now. Those scam podcast. Let's make it green to match my logo, and there you go. All right. I'm going to do share screen in a minute, and then we'll get up and started. Hopefully next week, I'll be running on a brand new laptop, so we're not going to have these latency issues. Here this week, my laptop is not in my hands yet. It's at UPS. I haven't been around, and the UPS has stopped delivering it. Anyway, it's a mess. All right, it's been hard for me to keep up with like the latest news over the last couple of days with the holiday and traveling and more people reaching out. So I'm trying to keep up. I'm trying to bring you the latest news, and I will continue to try and do my best. All right. So the good news is my website has been fully updated. That was the last Bitcoin group, 148. I'm pretty sure the last one we talked about. And the next on my agenda is to start writing a couple of articles. An article better preparing people for what's to come on August 1st, and an article about my August 11th critical date. I mean, the optimal time for me to get these articles out would be like next week or the week after. Gives you enough time to kind of get ready, and also I'll have a better view of the current environment. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and get that going. My travel plans, I will be in Los Angeles to speak on July 22nd. I know it's bad timing. I might head up to San Francisco, maybe talk to the Blockstream guys if they're around. Maybe do an episode of the World Crypto Network with Thomas Hunt in person. And then I'll definitely be back home in time for August 1st and the user-activated soft fork stuff, okay? And after that, the next time I'll be somewhere is in September, October. I'm going to do a whole European tour, and I'll talk more about that later on. All right, let's just jump right into the markets. So again, no surprise, still in my box. I'm going to expand the box. Still in this box. We're not going anywhere for now. And the 50-day moving average is catching up on the S&P 500, which is good. And I'm still waiting for my breakout. I have no clue when it's going to come, but the breakout is coming. I remain very, very bullish traditional markets. Oops, wrong button. I'm gonna close these as I go. I really need to free up my memory. I can't wait to start doing this on a real laptop. Here's the weekly chart. Again, nothing really is happening. I'm still bullish the stock market, and the RSI continues to be at the top. Would have been nice to pull back, but we don't always get that. MACD is also at the top, but no significant pullback at all. So we remain bullish. Gold. I drew this arrow on Sunday. I have turned bearish gold a little while ago, and oh boy, is it about to get ugly. I feel kind of silly not to put a short trade Sunday night into this week when I drew this arrow. It can rebound a little. I mean, this was a perfect short right here. In hindsight, of course. Let me zoom in. Oh, you know what? Let's talk about the daily overview. To me, gold is totally screwed. Totally screwed. Let me say that a little slower. From a technical perspective, if you're a gold bull, like I was back in the day, or if you're holding on to your coins, like I am still, hoping to sell them at a profit, I'm going to be holding those for a very, very, very long time. I just do not see anything technically in the Bitcoin charts that with even a hint that there is a bull market coming. Okay, we are now at a double bottom support at 1220. I am pretty much bearish. I would totally throw a bearish trade on right now, but because of Monday's huge crash, it can be a dead cat bounce. So it's really difficult to time your short trade. But I've already been back on the gold short bandwagon for a while. This is the weekly chart now. And I don't know. I honestly think that if gold manages to never go below $1,000, to me, that is the ultimate miracle. Ultimate miracle. I have zero confidence in gold at the moment. And I know some people hate me for saying this, but I have zero confidence in gold. I don't care if it's manipulation. That's not my problem. I look at the technicals, and the technicals are telling me that the MACD and the RSI are going to make lower lows. They're going to make lower lows. That's what it shows. That's what it shows me on a technical level. Okay, let's go back to daily here. Double bottom is not going to hold. It can hold another month or two. Who the hell knows? But it will get taken out. Once this double bottom at 1220 gets taken out, you will have a double bottom right under 1200. Or, yeah, like around here. Like whatever that line is here. Where are we here? 1190. Once we get back to this area of these two lows, that's going to be another double bottom that is going to get taken out. And now you're looking at 10,044. Now, if we come back down and we have a strong turn above somewhere in the vicinity of wait, this isn't 1044, is it? It's 1125. Okay, so why is it 1125? Hold on a second. Oh, I know why. Well, that's still 1044. So what is this? Oh, is that not the low? Ah, that's not the low, that's why. There it is, there's 1044. Right here, that's the low. That's the 1044 low. Okay, that's not the low. I gotcha. So once we get down to here, 1100, we're going to make a double bottom, which means we go lower. And then if we get back down to 1125, we will make a double bottom here, which will once again set it up for lower lows. Like, I don't know where gold is going to bottom. It can make a higher high. This can happen. You know, this is going to be a support point off of this trend line, off of these two lows. And this is going to make a nice fat triangle. And if it breaks to the downside, you are looking at lower lows. But we'll have plenty of time to get there. But right now, I am completely short Bitcoin. Now, let me zoom in. I know I'm spending a lot of time on gold these days. Let's bring the numerical indicator in here on a daily level. You know what? I don't need that stuff. Okay, so let's see what this tells us on a daily level. So on a daily level, you would have gone short if you only used this indicator and you didn't even know what asset you were trading. You would have gone short, or I would have gone short, right here at 1271. Right here, 1271, would have gone short. I would have taken my profit right here at number 9, right there. See this number 9 right here? Boom. Take some profit. right around here at the 50-day moving average, the 50-day moving average told you it's probably going to go back down, but this particular indicator doesn't know the 50-day moving average exists. And it would have told you to go to cash. So you take your profit here on 9, you take the rest of your profit from this trade down up here, take the rest of your profit right here around these 1 and 2. This is where you take your profits. Around here, you see this number 3 right here? Around here, at number 3, at the bottom of this candle, I would have gone short. So that means Sunday night. I don't know if I told you guys. I don't remember what I said on Sunday. But if on Sunday, if this candle, if I noticed this 3 right here, what I should have said was gold daily is a short. I'm not going to go back to my videos to fact check myself, but anyone's welcome to. I don't know if I said it or not. I have no clue. But I drew this red arrow last time I did this video 3 days ago, so I must have thought something. So right here on Sunday, sometime on Sunday, when the low of this candle went below the low of the previous candle, it was a short. And I can see that it went below by about $1 or $2. That's a short. And then Monday, boom, bottom dropped out. So if you went short right here using this indicator, you're still short. You're not even taking profit right now. You're at number 6 and you're waiting for number 9. Once you get a number 9, you're going to take some profit. Okay, that's how you trade this indicator. And on the daily level, remember, weekly level trumps daily level. And you all know what I was saying about this trend line. I'm talking about gold a lot because gold is very technical right now. Here's the weekly. Let's throw the indicator up. I have 2 of them, so I don't know which version of the code I'm running, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Boom. So what does the weekly tell us? The weekly tells me that gold on a long-term level was a short right here on number 3. Oh, my bad, number 2. At number 2. At number 2 was a short. Though over here it was a long. The indicator said to buy gold right here above this blue line. You buy gold. But then the next day you go back to cash. Your trade failed. So once it didn't stay up there and it went back down and it closed below the trend line, the trend line, the Fibonacci, and the numerical indicator all told you to get the hell out of your long position. You made a mistake. And then the following day, right here on number 2, told you to go short. So if you would have used this indicator, I don't know if I used it. I don't know if I opened it up or not, but this indicator said you go short gold on a long-term view at 1250, right there, boom. 1250, you go short, and you're still short. You're waiting about 5 more weeks. 5 more weeks, and then you can take your profit, assuming it gets to number 9. Because look right here, see it was 1, and it made it to 8, but it didn't make it to 9. So your trade failed. And then it made a 9 to the upside, telling you to sell. Telling you to take your profit and potentially sell. Let me not overestimate this thing. Okay? So you never actually took the short trade. The short trade of this 9 never took place. It took place right here at the bottom, so it would have been a bad trade. It would have taken a short trade, then the next, this would have been a bad trade. You would have taken a short trade, and you would have got out of your short trade like 3 days later. This would have been a big loss. No indicator is perfect, guys. If you want a perfect indicator and you're watching these videos, you're crazy. Just got to be, it's consistency. Consistency is key. Anyway, gold is short, big short. Should I'm not even going to bother. You all know my opinion. See this giant red arrow? It stays. All right, I spent too much time on this. Let's move on. Closing gold. Oil, no opinion. I drew this channel ages ago, and we're in the channel. So as long as we stay in the channel, there's nothing to say about oil, really. I mean, it's just a downtrend in oil below the 50-day moving average, declining to 100-day moving average. It's staying in the channel. Once the summer season ends, it'll probably start to go down even faster. Not very bullish oil. I'm still kind of bullish the euro. Oh, this is what I want to say. This is what I wanted to say, guys. I haven't pulled up DXY. I haven't pulled up the dollar index. All right, let that load. I'll talk about the dollar in a minute. So the euro, I'm short-term bullish the euro reluctantly because I think the euro is not sustainable. Your RSI almost made it into the green, into the red, sorry. If it can make it into the red, that would be a monster short. I think the euro is going to be the short of a lifetime when it makes it back up to like 115-ish versus the dollar. That's my view on the euro. Euro versus the pound, I don't know why I'm still showing this chart. It's kind of irrelevant at the moment. It'll probably, again, the euro has some strength in it before the euro totally collapses. So here's what I wanted to say, right? So people are giving me a hard time in me saying that the dollar is going back to 120 and more. And clearly the dollar is back to 96 after hitting 102, right? But this is the dollar index. And what people don't realize I don't know why my resolution is so small all of a sudden. Something went weird with my computer today when I restarted it. I have to like zoom in everything. What people have to realize is that that DXY is weighted to almost 60% with the euro. So 60% of this chart, or is it? 60% of this chart is literally the euro. And the other 13% is the Japanese yen. Like, that's how insane it is. So all this means, this doesn't mean that the dollar got weak. All this means is that the euro got strong. Based on what's happening in Europe, has nothing to do with the US. The fact that Europe didn't fall apart with Le Pen being elected created strength in the euro. And the strength in the euro by default lowers the value of the US index for the US dollar. It by no means does this mean the dollar is weakening. Don't let some crazy doomsday bloggers fool you. Please. The dollar is as strong as it's ever been. Just because the euro happens to be a little stronger than the dollar does not foresee the dollar's demise. Okay? I tried using Brave browser. It sucks. I'm never going back to that thing. So I just saw someone's live comment. So don't mistake that, right? And now people are probably confused. How come the dollar is going down in value and gold is going down in value? That's because the dollar isn't really going down in value. I guarantee you that it's going up in value against the pound. The pound, the Aussie dollar, the Canadian dollar. I'm sure the dollar is doing okay against those currencies. It's just that the euro is doing really, really well. And the moment the euro turns, this sucker is going to go from 100 to 120 in the blink of an eye because the euro is 60% weighted in this index. Okay, so I just want to make that clear. All right, Bitcoin. I have about 360 live viewers right now. It looks like my live numbers are starting to come down a little bit. Would love to break 700 again one day. Thank you for your donations. Thank you for your support. Thank you for sharing my videos. Thank you to clients who have been calling me up for consulting. A lot of people have been interested in that indicator, and I have been going through it with some people. I have a couple of coders that are trying to, work out some of the kinks, though I don't know if that's possible. Let's see if they can pull it off. Here's the weekly chart of Bitcoin, all you've been waiting for. And I'll zoom in a minute. From a long-term perspective, considering that things like Ethereum has gone up 20x, Bitcoin, I remain of the position that Bitcoin is not in a bubble. Not at all. And if we can get through, the segregated witness and get that in the system smoothly, Bitcoin should do really, really well. In fact, it should do amazingly well the closer the reality of SegWit getting in becomes, obvious. All right, let's zoom in. Let's take a look at what's going on here. Remember, this is the weekly view. Weekly view here. I can zoom out a little, I guess. I can make it bigger. We don't need momentum indicators anymore. Let's see what we got. Let's pull up the numbers. I'm not sure why I'm so dependent on this one particular indicator. It's just a tool. It's just one tool, guys. Just one tool, okay? So I went live to watch the weekend close of this candle. I really, really, really wanted to see it close above the red line because it would have been a huge difference into what I'm saying right now. Huge difference, okay? The numbers are the numbers. Because we did not close above the red line, on a weekly perspective, there is no long-term, there should be no long-term position in Bitcoin. Your trading position, right? Like, I'm still holding all my Bitcoin. You have to separate your belief in the technology and trading Bitcoin as an asset class. They are very, very, very different things. And they're completely independent, okay? As a trader, you need to understand this, okay? If you believe in Bitcoin, you're holding Bitcoin no matter what. That's what I'm doing. If you are a trader and you're trading this particular indicator, your trading position in long-term trading position should be in cash. You should have taken profit right here on the 9, and on Sunday, when it didn't close above the red line, you sold the rest of that trading position into cash. Now, this candle becomes interesting. There's a couple of things going on here. First of all, there is absolutely nothing this candle can do to create a long-term bullish trade in this indicator. Nothing. This candle can close at $5,000 and it will still not create a buy point. Like, if I was to use this indicator to program a trading strategy, there is nothing this candle can do to get me into a bullish trade on a week if I'm trading weekly candles. Nothing. Okay? Now, if this candle trades below the purple line, it creates a short position in long-term Bitcoin prepping for a bear market. Now, keep in mind, this trade failed right here on this candle number 2. On this candle number 2, my automatic trade would have initiated a short position, and the short position would have been taken out right here at a loss. Okay, so not every indicator is perfect, but it would have more than made up for the bad trade because you would have caught this entire run from 2 to 9. And prior to that, you would have caught this entire run from 3 to 9 and this entire run from 2 to 9, okay? And then some, actually, because you never would have gone to cash until back here somewhere. So this would have been a one bad trade in a sea of good trades, okay? But there's nothing this candle can do to get you into a bullish weekly trade, nothing. But the next candle could. but it probably won't. I'll talk more about this later, okay? So this week is either you remain in long-term cash or it opens up a short on Bitcoin below the purple. And that's as far as I will go explaining this indicator on the weekly level, okay? And that's those are my tweets, right? When I tweet this out later, today or tomorrow, I will remain with the view that the weekly position in Bitcoin is a no trade. Let's look at the daily. So I drew this potential point of caution, but I also talked about the bounce of the 50-day moving average. So this was like a cup and handle and handle. And I was pulling up, you know, this does look like a bubble top, but I was leaning against it. I'm still generally more bullish Bitcoin than bearish. I love the fact that the RSI has come down below 50. I love the fact that the MACD has come down to 0. This was an awesome chance to reset your momentum without actually damaging much of the Bitcoin price. Now, look, I got nervous right there. You saw my tweet. After SegWit2x bullshit came out, you saw my tweet. I was getting a little nervous, but my math never told me to short. Okay, let's look at this now. Several things going on before we jump into the numerical indicator. The triangle was getting ready to break to the downside, but it never did. Okay, and we have now broken up to the upside, and this is now this tonight is going to be our third close above the triangle. This is very, very bullish, very bullish. Okay, the up move that's supposed to take place is at least $1,100. It's somewhere between 1,100 plus an additional, what do we got here? That's 29 plus 33. That's like plus an additional 300 or 400. So it's somewhere between 1,100 and 1,500 on the upside. That's your target. That's your potential target. Okay. Also, look at my tweets. You guys gotta. If you're watching these videos and you don't follow me on Twitter, you're missing more than half the information. I tweet these things out all the time. I was looking for a bounce from this area where these two candles were, and it perfectly happened. I got a little nervous the day we closed below the 50-day moving average, but the following day, you're no longer nervous. I was getting ready for a short trade, but the short trade was never in the cards. It was never triggered. Your MACD is about to cross to the upside, which is great. Okay, so now let's go back to the numerical indicator. What did it tell us? You know what? I think I should pull up the tweets. I was going to open it right here. Okay, good. Let me just grab. I don't want to actually open my Twitter account. I'm just going to pull up a picture from the tweet. Here, these were my last two tweets on the subject. Okay, so here you go. So you have to read my tweets very, very carefully. I clearly state that the sell short trade only gets activated below that line on the weekly candles. On the daily candles, look where I wrote. I'll zoom in. And this is important. So first I say that, see that red line? I say the daily chart needed a lower intraday low for a potential short signal. This never took place, at least on Bitfinex, okay? So if this candle number 2 would have traded below this red line at any point during the day, it would have, this indicator would have said it's a short play. If it would have went below the triangle would have said it's a short play. Okay, and you're closing below the 50-day moving average. Like everything pointed short. None of that took place. So there was never a short trade. all of these candles right here, all these ones, the twos, everything in blue, all the candles in blue, what do they say? According to the indicator, all these candles, of course, I typed too fast. These couple of letters should be in reversed, are calling for your trading position to be in cash. In cash, right here. Then I circle this number 1 and I go up. What does that say? Haha, that's funny. In addition to the triangle breakout, if I don't think about spelling, I don't spell right. We all have our abilities in certain things, and I have absolutely no capability of spelling. So every word I spell correctly is a word I physically memorized. And if I'm tired or if I'm not thinking, it's impossible for me to spell anything correctly. Just a heads up, guys. So I have to focus on spelling every single word correctly, which is why my spelling is atrocious and why my college teachers said I'll have a problem getting into college and I'm probably not going to graduate. And then after I got my first bachelor's degree, they were surprised. Some of those college professors were surprised. And then I got my second degree, and then no one thought I can even make it into grad school, not alone complete a master's degree in financial engineering, which I did, because anyone that has ever seen my writing realized the flaws in this. But I always love proving people wrong. Probably one of the reasons why I stayed in college and never actually dropped out. Anyway, let's move on. So what does this say? It's great that we're closing above the triangle, but this numerical indicator doesn't know that the triangle exists. So what does that say? A close at these levels, followed by a higher high intraday, followed by a higher intraday high next candle, creates a buy long play. Boom. Okay. A buy long if we trade above this candle. Let's see what happened the next day. The next day, right here, I tweeted this out. I didn't tweet out, the follow-up, but that's why you got to follow me on Twitter. I said, buy the indicator. I'm not saying anything, guys. You're big boys. You trade your own stuff. The indicator says that it's a long play and it's good to buy Bitcoin on the daily chart. The weekly is not saying this. The daily is saying it. On the daily chart, you buy Bitcoin at this above this value. Okay? And once we traded above this value, the Bitcoin became a buy. So now let's go to the chart. Where are we here? Boom. See this green line? The moment it traded above the green line yesterday, Bitcoin was a long. Bitcoin was a buy. Okay? It was a long play. And now we're back to the line, so you're pretty much at break even somewhere. Right? Where was the line? The line is at 25.8740. So boom. So where are we now? So you're $1 in the red. Okay? We came back. We almost tested the breakout period. Now we're back. But the number is a 3. The number is telling you to stay long. Okay? That's the daily view of Bitcoin, that I am bullish daily. I am neutral weekly. I honestly stopped looking at the hourly because the hourly no longer really made much sense. I don't really care about the hourly, guys. I just don't right now. Just don't care about the hourly. It's nice that it broke out, it came back, it tested it, it's breaking out. But all these hourly targets are kind of still in play. But we have big things coming, big things. SegWit, fake Satoshi is making presentations that people are clapping about, right? SegWit2x, August 1st, my August 11th critical date. There's just so many things going on. I'm trying not to pay attention to the noise and the hourly chart, so I'm not going to talk about it. All right, I think I've spent way more time. I wanted to talk about Litecoin. I even have a Monero chart up. Let me see how fast I can get through this. Rich, thank you again for helping me compile questions. I'm above 400 viewers. Thank you for your donations. Thank you for your support. And thank you for private client consulting. So I have, since the last video, I have had people call me and inquire about Litecoin and inquire about Monero and Ethereum Classic. I'm not going to talk about Ethereum Classic, but let's talk about Litecoin, okay? So I also tweeted out about Litecoin. I know many people tweeted earlier than me because they saw this pattern, but that's fine. I mean, you could have caught this pattern days or weeks earlier, but it didn't really matter, because as long as you catch this pattern before this pattern breaks the green line, as long as you catch this pattern, as long as you catch this pattern before this day, that's all that really matters, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you caught this pattern here, which would be kind of guessing, or here. It doesn't matter, right? Because you need to catch because the pattern doesn't start until here. So, and you even usually have a second chance to catch it there, okay? So I believe that I caught this pattern in time, and I tweeted about it, and I gave the heads up, because look, guys, I don't hate Litecoin. Ozzy, if you're watching, I know you asked, so I'll address it in a minute. So this is a cup and handle pattern, and it's indicating that Litecoin is going to break out to about 0.03, which is about a $25 move in Litecoin if Bitcoin remains unchanged in price, okay? So here was the weekly chart, and the weekly chart is also looking like a breakout. Like, I've been bullish Litecoin for a while. I was actually very bullish Litecoin down here, but like the idiot that I am, I never bought any, and I didn't even accept donations in Litecoin till I believe like maybe here, and when I started accepting donations, right? So I'm an idiot sometimes, okay? So I tweeted it out in time, and Litecoin broke out right here, and it made a new high at 55 bucks. So I was actually talking to a private client, and you know who you are, and literally an hour or two before Litecoin popped, and I kind of suggested that, yeah, Litecoin looks good, hold on to your Litecoin. And I also suggested that Litecoin has actually been the leader between Litecoin and Bitcoin. Yes, I know it sounds weird. Bitcoin is the technological leader. Bitcoin is the confidence leader, not only for Litecoin, but for all of crypto. But for short-term momentum, Litecoin just seems to move a little bit faster. And here's the thing, though, right? A lot of people are nervous what's going to happen with Bitcoin come August 1st. So they have already put their Bitcoin in cold storage for protection. But they're using Litecoin as a surrogate for their confidence in Bitcoin. So as confidence in SegWit being adopted on Bitcoin rises, those that have hid their Bitcoin from a disaster are potentially going into Litecoin as a proxy for Bitcoin's good news, and vice versa. So Litecoin, what I've noticed, and I've mentioned it to private clients over the last week or so, what I've noticed is when Litecoin pops, Bitcoin pops a little bit after. And when Litecoin drops, Bitcoin drops a little bit after. And those that, and I give too much stuff away maybe, but those that have been watching me on Twitter, oh man, I gotta like zoom everything in now. It's so weird. Those that have watched me on Twitter, if you go back a week or two and you look at my Litecoin tweet, the Litecoin rebound tweet, where is it? Oh, man. Did I really tweet it that long ago? Right here. Right here. This was the hint. Read that tweet right here. Litecoin right at critical support. A bounce here in LTC USD terms could lead the way for Bitcoin to bounce as well. And some people noticed this and they said, do you think Litecoin? No, just put some. Right there. Good job, Matt. You picked it up. You picked it up, but you laughed it off. I wasn't laughing. I was serious. Good catch. Somebody caught it. I don't know if you're watching, Matt, but you caught it right there, right? You even laughed about it, but guess what? I wasn't laughing. I was serious. Litecoin bounced first, and it led the way. That was my first. Those were my initial thoughts of, wait a minute. It feels like Litecoin price is leading in predicting the future of Bitcoin, and I snuck it in there right there in the tweet, and somebody picked it up, but they thought it was funny. Okay, and this was the picture that I tweeted right here with this arrow and a bounce. And now if I go back to my Litecoin chart, that's pretty much what happened right here. That's it. That's the arrow and that's the bounce. It did come back and make a double bounce, and my double bounce theory isn't 100% perfect. I think it's 90% perfect. But this was such critical support and this is just daily chart. Like weekly was did not have any kind of a double bottom. So there were. This is somewhat reasonable to have this double bottom in this one particular case, even though it's still a rarity, even in this circumstance. Okay. So that's the short-term view of Litecoin. This is the daily chart of Litecoin. We have busted out. We have made a new closing high versus Bitcoin. We have made a new all-time high in US dollar terms, and now we're reaching. We're on our way to Litecoin being 0.03 of Bitcoin, like months sooner than I expected. So we are above schedule, in my opinion, for Litecoin to go up. The weekly chart also looks good. This week we can close at a new 2-year high close on the weekly, and once we get above this prior high, and this is that double top-ish situation, and I think Litecoin's future, near-term future, is fairly bright. And now let me comment on Litecoin, right? So some people seem to take offense when I said the other day that the future for Decred and Litecoin, I don't even remember saying Decred, the future for Litecoin is not bright. And that's my long-term view. My long-term view that Litecoin will not be the ultimate silver to Bitcoin's gold, because Bitcoin should not need a silver. In the short term, Litecoin can totally go to hundreds of dollars, maybe even thousands per Litecoin. Is that possible? Absolutely. Is that sustainable? I don't think so. And I could be very wrong. This might be one of my more debatable statements. I have a very debatable statement that 10 years from now, Litecoin may not be, Litecoin may go the way of Dogecoin, right? Like, look, I'm very disappointed that Ethereum has made people millionaires. I'm not disappointed if someone's a millionaire, right? But to me, Ethereum's a scam. And it's unfortunate that people became millionaires from a scam. I would rather people become millionaires from something like Litecoin or maybe even Monero. I would feel better with myself that people at least became rich off of a legitimate project. It bothers me that people, not that it doesn't bother me that people became rich. I don't care. I don't care who becomes rich. It bothers me that people became rich off of a scam, because to me Ethereum is a scam. Okay. Now, having said that, I don't have a problem with Litecoin. I like Litecoin. I think it's useful for now. I don't mind Monero. I don't know enough about Decred to comment, so no comment, right? But the ultimate future for Litecoin, I don't see how the ultimate future of Litecoin is any different than what happened to Dogecoin. Okay, I just don't see it, right? Maybe I could be convinced otherwise. Maybe I'll have, maybe I'll hang out with Charlie Lee one weekend and, he'll be able to convince me. Maybe somebody else can try and convince me. Maybe Ozzy can try and convince me. I don't know, okay? But right now, I have not yet been convinced that the ultimate future of Litecoin is any different than the ultimate future of Doge, okay? But I have no problem with Litecoin. I think I think it'll probably do better than Bitcoin over the next, I don't know, 1 to 12 months, right? Because the charts are telling me that Litecoin should appreciate against Bitcoin. Am I going to be right? I have no idea, but that's what my charts are saying. Okay, that Litecoin is potentially a more profitable short-term trade than Bitcoin is. But long-term, Litecoin is Dogecoin to me. I don't see a difference. Okay, let's do Monero real quick. I don't even know why. I don't even have a Monero address to take donations. This doesn't really tell me much. It tells me that it's staying above this kind of critical support, but it has shown that it doesn't really care that much about it because it bounces up and below and above. So in terms of Bitcoin on a daily chart, there's really not much there. But in terms of US dollars, Monero looks very, very clean, very clean. It looks good to go back to this line. And again, the reason I'm talking about Monero right now is because I had these charts open this morning. Thank you, private client, for calling me up and wanting to discuss Monero. So I'm doing everybody a favor and covering it on the episode. So Monero is back above its 50-day moving average in terms of dollars, and you can see that the 50-day moving average is somewhat relevant because it's been following the 50-day moving average. And every time it went below the moving average in dollar terms, it always pulled back above it, except for like a couple of days recently. And we're back above. So if Monero can get back to its all-time high in dollars at 55, there's a very high probability that it's going to go up all the way to 80 or 90. Okay, so I am bullish Monero in dollar terms. My favorite look at Monero is the weekly candles, and this week is looking a tiny, tiny bit problematic for its potential to close on the bottom of the triangle. But in general, these triangles, they're not going to. This triangle is not going to do this 100% of the time. But in my experience, the odds are 70-30 in your favor that Monero is going to bust out above 0.022 against Bitcoin and can rally all the way to 0.04 or 0.045 against Bitcoin. Okay, the probability is with you. Is it going to happen? Nobody freaking knows, but the odds are on your side. It's basically like playing blackjack, and you're doubling down on an 11. It doesn't mean you're going to win the hand. It means that the odds are on your side that you're going to win the hand. So that's what this triangle is. It just puts the odds on your side that it's going to break to the upside more often than it breaks to the downside. Can it break to the downside? Abso-freaking-lutely. Okay, so on my to-do list is to rewrite this article from August 31st, where I clearly state that something big, the most important day in the life of Bitcoin, is going to happen on August 11th, 2017. Excuse me, guys. Oh, wow. Really sure got some water. I'll talk about why this date exists. I'll talk about its potential significance, and I'll talk about, you know, some of my top choices for what may happen. But it's all just, you know, speculative and my best guesses. But I will update this article. It's time. I wrote it back in 2014, and the closer I write it to August 11th, the more I can speculate. So maybe I'll try and write this article over the next 7 days, and then I'll try and write an update to this article the week before August 11th. Or right after August 1st, I'll try and write an update as to what I see for August 11th. Or this could all be complete nonsense. So who knows? Who the hell knows? All right. I believe Rich has sent me a bunch of questions from you guys. I'm again above 400 live viewers, which is excellent. Thank you for. Want to thank everyone again for your for reaching out to me, for consulting at 0.1 Bitcoin per hour, and for donations and for your support. All right, let's begin. Oh, by the way, in my description of my videos, there's so many links. All right, let me close these. Just things in the way. Don't save. Don't save. I have like all these articles. I gotta like literally zoom everything in now. All these links to all these must-read articles. Anyway, my new computer should be here this week. I'm just gonna throw this thing out. Actually, I haven't even read this one yet. I don't know if it's good or not. Sorry, Alex, haven't read it yet. You know, so all of these articles, they're in the description of my video. Please check them out. This is the event in Prague where I'll be speaking, and I'm setting up other places to speak. All right, in Europe. Right. So, yeah, I love the fact that the node count is going up like crazy. Let's see if there's an updated picture here. The node count for the user-activated soft fork is going up. The only way to really protect yourself is with the user-activated soft fork, BIP 148. If your node is BIP 148, you are protected. If come August 1st, your economic node, your exchange, your wallet, your whatever, your miner, if they're not running a BIP 148 node, they are not protected, assuming SegWit doesn't activate with SegWit2x. I guess I should talk about SegWit2x. I'm sure it'll be in the questions. Let's just jump to your questions, guys. I can't wait to start making these videos shorter after like this whole mess blows over, but we'll probably have like problems that are almost as big. But I do need a vacation. Okay, next. Why do you have your whole net worth in Bitcoin? Probably because I'm stupid. Haven't you been a risk analyst before doing this stuff? Yes. Look, because I believe in Bitcoin, and I wouldn't be fighting for it this hard if I didn't have all my value in Bitcoin. And I'll recover. Like if Bitcoin, I don't believe Bitcoin will collapse. I think there's way too much economic incentive to keep Bitcoin alive. So I don't believe that that Bitcoin is going anywhere. And I'm probably not going to do this next time. Once we get through this and Bitcoin goes up in value, I'm not going to have all my value in Bitcoin during the next time a similar situation comes up. I will let you guys know if I have withdrawn like 40% of my Bitcoin, 30% of my Bitcoin. And that's not going to be because I no longer believe in Bitcoin. It'll be because I will need to diversify. And most likely I'll need to pay my mortgage before I, end up on the street or something. So at one point or another, I am going to want to enjoy some profit and sell it. I also have to think about the tax consequences. And the other thing is I may, like once we get through this, I may not have to go as hard. Like I'm going hard right now for what I believe in. I may not have to go as hard, or other people will be helping me in the space doing this and taking a stand and having a big following. Not that my following is all that big. And I may start focusing on traditional markets. Like, I wouldn't know where to put my money right now. Like, I have nowhere else to diversify in. I don't have time to trade the stock market right now, so I don't really want to put it all in there. But I probably will after this is over. I'll probably move a bunch of money, and maybe I'll focus a little more on traditional trading again. But we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, no, it's not smart. Like, what I'm doing is not smart. Like, having so much of my net worth in Bitcoin is not smart. All right, next. Can't we relax on the New York and user-activated soft fork SegWit running in a compatible fashion until the 2x fork in November? That is a great question. And the answer to that is it depends. Look, I understand that the user-activated soft fork is, ballsy on the part of people like me and those that came before me that were in support of the user-activated soft fork long before I came around to supporting it. I have multiple problems with the with the New York agreement. Multiple problems. I don't like the fact that a VC got a bunch of people in the room and decided to make an agreement to get these economic nodes to agree to running code that wasn't even yet written, and no clue who's going to run this, who's going to even write this code, right? That idea just bothers me, right? I had this debate with Eric Voorhees over the last couple of days. Please check my Twitter where I went back and forth with Eric Voorhees. To me, any economic node that signed the New York agreement is literally like a politician signing a bill they didn't read, which constantly happens. But they didn't even read anything about the bill. Like, they're just like, yep, this guy wants you to sign it. Someone else is then going to go and write it, and then you have to do it, right? So it's like signing a bill in the Senate before the bill was even written, without even knowing who is going to write that bill. That is what those that signed the agreement did. And now they feel obligated to run the code they agreed to run. Because if they don't, and a lot of these same people were critical of core developers that signed the Hong Kong agreement that said they would get SegWit activated, and then they would consider forking to 2 megabytes if it's safe. Then they decided that it wasn't safe, and now they're being held, ransom for signing something they then realized wasn't safe to do. And they're somehow responsible for running it because they signed it. That is garbage. That is garbage. If our core developers agreed to continue doing what they signed just because they signed it, I would sell every one of my Bitcoins and go back to the traditional markets, okay? I am not here to watch a scientist compromise their specialty and what they know is wrong just because they signed some bullshit piece of paper. That's not why I'm here. I'm here because I trust these scientists to provide me with the safest, most decentralized Bitcoin code. And if I even smell them compromising on that, I am out. The fastest way to get me out of Bitcoin is to fire the Bitcoin core developers, okay? And this brings me to my second big problem with the New York agreement. The New York agreement, even though SegWit was written, in my opinion, by competent developers, and BIP91 to fast track SegWit in order to avoid a chain split on August 1st was also written by a fairly competent person, and that was, I believe, checked and legit. The wrapping of safe code with SegWit2x code, I do not consider safe. Now, just because I don't consider it safe does not mean I consider it dangerous. I do not know if it is dangerous to run SegWit2x code, okay? But I personally would never run SegWit2x code because I don't trust the people that wrote the wrapper for BIP91, and BIP91 is a fast track to BIP141, which ultimately creates segregated witness blocks to be mined. But that wrapper, that SegWit2x wrapper, makes me a little uncomfortable. Now, I mean, all of these miners have their own developers. They're technically savvy. If these miners feel that the wrapper of SegWit2x code is safe to run, then they should go ahead and run it in order to give us SegWit and avoid a chain split. If the economic nodes and their CTOs and developers feel that the SegWit2x wrapper of the safe code is not perfectly safe for them, because they're the ones that are responsible for billions of dollars on the line for their customers. If they feel that this SegWit2x wrapper is potentially dangerous, then screw what they signed. They cannot be running that code. But they don't have to run that code. That's the beauty of it. The economic nodes do not have to run SegWit2x code. Only the miners have to run SegWit2x code, because the economic nodes do not create blocks. They only validate those blocks. And you do not need to run SegWit2x code to validate a SegWit block. But the miners will have to run SegWit2x code in order to give us SegWit before August 1st. Or the miners can simply run BIP148, and we have SegWit on August 1st, and there, again, no danger there, right? As a user of Bitcoin, I will never run SegWit2x code because I don't consider it safe. I'm not saying it's dangerous, but it doesn't fall into my safe bucket because it wasn't written by Core. That's my personal view. You guys have your own view, okay? So here comes the problem. If our economic nodes, and if you don't know what an economic node is, which is possible, I will give you a very brief explanation. An economic node is a node that is actually processing transactions in bulk, right? Like, so for example, if my node at home is processing my own transactions, it's kind of like an economic node, but it's a bit useless of an economic node because I'm just one person, right? But Shapeshift's node is a monster economic node because it processes so many Bitcoin transactions for so many people, right? Not an AWS, right? Not some like signaling bullshit, right? An actual node, like BitPay's node, Bitfinex's node, Bitstamp's node. And these companies should have multiple nodes, by the way. Like, there's no reason why Shapeshift should only have one node. They should definitely have, you know, at least half a dozen nodes, right? You have to make sure that your transactions are always processing by something that has a full history of the blockchain, right? So they should have at least half a dozen nodes, probably more, right? Because your nodes always need to be running. And these nodes should be in different places with different internet connections, you know, and different jurisdictions. Like, these nodes should be spread around the world, okay, if you want to be a global company. But these economic nodes don't have to run SegWit2x code even now, even this month. Just the miners do, okay? So here's my worry. If a lot of these economic nodes start to run SegWit2x node, one of my worries is there is some kind of a bug there that we're unaware of, like a surge 0 from Bitcoin Unlimited nonsense. And we have a real problem, and some people lose their money, and then lawyers swoop in, right? Regulators swoop in. That's one worry. Not a huge worry, but a worry. This is also a worry with core developer code. It's just less probabilistic to happen. Okay. My other issue is, if this bug does happen, though unlikely, but if it happens, the closer it happens to August 1st, the bigger the scramble, the bigger the panic. If it happens early enough, no one runs SegWit2x anymore, and everyone just supports user-activated software. But if this SegWit2x code is being run by a big chunk of the industry, and things do go smoothly, which in reality they probably should, I don't want to give incompetent developers that are going to harm Bitcoin, if not now, then very soon. I don't want to give them any kind of credibility. I don't want to give the developers of SegWit2x credibility. Okay? I don't like them. I don't trust them. That's my personal opinion. My personal opinion. And yes, I'm not a developer and I'm not a coder. But my job for 10 years was to work with coders that were some of the smartest people I ever met. They were programming billions of dollars on the line. We programmed risk analysis software on Wall Street. Hedge funds with billions of dollars invested were running our code. I was working with those developers. I was providing them specs of what needed to be developed. I was testing that code. I was blessing that code. And I was deciding which core developer is going to work on which part of the code, because I had to trust my developers to make sure our company doesn't get in trouble. Okay, so you don't need to be a developer to understand which developers are right for the job and which aren't. And that's a skill set that you learn over many, many years of working with developers. Okay, so I don't want SegWit2x I don't want people to be complacent and believing that SegWit2x is a good thing. Forget the 2x part. Forget that. We'll deal with that in 6 months. We'll deal with that in 3 months. I'm only talking about the now, the SegWit part of SegWit2x. This is what worries me. Now, I might be a little over worried, but that is how I am seeing. I should probably turn my camera on. Let you guys see my ugly face. This is how I view the current environment. Please go back and watch that horrible conference, The Future of Bitcoin. Good Lord. I haven't even seen all those presentations, but the fake Satoshi presentation should, like, I'm surprised I have any hair left. I should have ripped it all out watching that presentation. All right. All right, let's move on. I think that was a very detailed view of what I think about SegWit2x. Okay. Look, I love the fact that BIP91 can avoid a chain split. And remember, a chain split is not a hard fork. Again, distinctions. Please Google the differences. There's a chain split and there's a hard fork. They're different. They're not the same thing. A chain split is not as bad as, well, depends, but a chain split will still merge into one chain. A hard fork will not. It'll just be an altcoin. Okay. We'll deal with the hard fork stuff later. I'm not even debating the hard fork. I'm just focusing on what is the safest way to get SegWit. The miners were handed a beauty of the safest way to get SegWit. BIP141 using BIP9's architecture. Just signal for SegWit. 95% of you signal for SegWit. It goes in smoothly, no argument, no discussion, nothing. They chose to use it as a voting mechanism, and they may never get this chance again. They may never get a chance to put in a code safely again. This is what happens when we trust our miners too much. Miners work for us. Anyone that stands on stage and is just waiting for a miner to run up on stage so he can kiss that miner's feet, that's not Bitcoin. That's not Bitcoin. Okay? Miners work for us. We decide. They have a privilege. They're getting all the benefits. People like me that are running full nodes, I get nothing for it, right? We're not Dash. We're not these other systems that are supporting proof of stake for running a node. We gave miners all the money, and they're taking advantage of this privilege by now deciding what's going to be in the code. Screw them, okay? Screw them, okay? They still have a chance to get SegWit in smoothly. Let's see. Let's see if they're up to that. All right, next. What do you think of the problem? Okay, Peter R. Okay. Oh, God. I'm trying not to curse. I'm really, 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 really trying not to curse. Oh, okay. So, what year was it? I'm going to Google it. Oh, how do I not curse? It's a serious problem. Trying to keep these PG-13. Scaling. Oh, no, I should go to YouTube. I should go to YouTube. Oh, you know what? Scaling Bitcoin Montreal. Peter R. Boom. I knew it was 2015. Why is it only 13 minutes? Were they really that short of presentations? Oh, God, it was uploaded by Christoph Atlas. Is there another one? Excellent. Oh, wow, that's a recent one. So, it's in Russian. Anyway, so when was this? I believe like September 2015. That is Peter R. up there doing his presentation at Scaling Bitcoin Part 1. Okay, I was sitting in the front row. You can't see me. Sitting right in front of that screen, actually. I was on the other side, though. I was on the left. Let's see. Let's see if there's a camera angle. Nope, that's the right. Damn it. Okay. They're not going to show it. Anyway, I was there. I was there. I was sitting in the front row, and I was watching this presentation. Now, I had no clue who Peter R. was. None. Never heard of him before, because I'm not a Reddit user. I heard he's on Reddit. Never heard of the guy. Had no clue what his specialty was. I didn't know if he was a developer. I didn't know if he was an economist. I knew nothing. I just knew there was some guy named Peter standing in front of the stage speaking, right? And he's doing his presentation. And somewhere halfway through the presentation, I think it was earlier than this, somewhere around here, somewhere around this part of the presentation. Is that really only 4 minutes in? I think so. Maybe it's the second time he pulled it up. Maybe it's here. Maybe it's here. Maybe it took 8 minutes. Maybe it took 8 minutes. Okay. I knew nothing. I was a rookie back then. This is 2015. I only started writing articles in like 2014. Like I was somewhat of a noob. Like most of the guys there didn't know who I was. I was just sitting in the front row. I turned to the guy next to me, and it was one of two people. It was either Pinder Wang, who put the conference together, or it could have been Paul Stortz. It could have been somebody else, but I honestly think it was one of those two guys. It was on the either Pinder or Paul Stortz, who also spoke at this conference and whose presentation I really liked. I turn to that person next to me and I say, this guy is a complete idiot. Why is he speaking here? How the hell did he get on stage? His ideas are retarded. That was my opinion without even knowing who he was. I have stuck to that opinion ever since. I was very happy to learn that he is anti-core and for Bitcoin Unlimited, which was years. I mean, this might have been like before even Bitcoin XT. Like, I'm so happy that my initial impression of Peter R's abilities and his views on the environment I'm so happy that he's on the other side of the fence, because if Peter R was an employee of Blockstream, I would have felt like a complete idiot having that initial opinion of his presentation. But because Peter R is always on the opposite side, I now just default back to my initial impression and listening to this presentation. And I never, ever wanted to read or hear from this man ever again. I don't think he has anything useful to say. And I came to this conclusion in 8 minutes. And so far, I have not been convinced that I need to even change my mind on that, because he's always been on the opposite side of the fence. And this is before any scaling debates like were really happening. And I was very new to it, but I understand economics fairly well. Okay. All right. So that's my impression of Peter R. So if Peter R has been criticizing something, I really couldn't care less. I do not actually respect his technical ability, nor do I care to listen to his criticism of people in core. If you can show me someone else that I respect that is criticizing people in core, I will be way more open to watching, listening, if I find, hope I'll try and make the time. Okay, next. Have you looked into Tezos? Absolutely not. Have you looked into Tezos fundraiser? Not an ICO. No, I haven't. So I don't know. I don't know how Tezos plans to finance their operation. I don't know. Should I switch my Trezor to a user-activated soft fork? I'm concerned because I have heard there may be issues. I don't know. I will. I will be using my Trezor. Where is this guy? I will be using my Trezor on the user-activated soft fork side of the chain. But you need to come to your own conclusions and decisions. All right, next. Why did I title the video SegWit2x or not SegWit? I don't know. I just wanted to title it something. Well, yeah, we have a not SegWit option, right? Nobody switches to there's no mining support for the user-activated soft fork, and the legacy chain takes their chances with a 98% mining hash rate and does not attack the minority chain and just lets the minority chain die. So probably not going to happen, but. I'll change the title. I was doing this last minute. I wanted a provocative title, and I know the title makes no sense, but that's kind of the beauty of it. Why it seems, by the way, I'm also playing around with my titles. I've noticed that when I don't put the word Bitcoin in my title, I get a lot less views. And when I make my title really, really, really catchy, I get a lot more views. And I don't want to skew my numbers. Like, I don't care about my views, right? I don't do ads on this channel. So like, what's important to me is that more people watch my videos in full, right? Like I don't care if I have 4,000 views or 6,000 views on my video. I've been averaging about 5,000 views now, right? Like, I don't care if I bump that number to 10,000 just because I have a catchy title, but they're just bullshit like views. I want the most realistic numbers possible. What's important to me is, you know, time spent watching my videos, and I know they're unreasonably long. So I want to try and get the best title possible without just like, I don't need extra views just because of the title, but I want the title to be catchy to bring in new viewers that are going to stick around. So I'm playing around with titles to see what works and what doesn't. Why it seems no one realizes that whales have the most skin in the game. And the whales don't agree on any hard fork. Both SegWit2x and 148 will fail. The OG whales will dump their coins on any hard fork chain. Well, it's not true that, well, okay, so there's a couple of problems there, right? Right now, it feels that the OG whales are the ones trying to now corrupt the system and take more power, okay? Not all of them, but some of them. To me, it feels like if you, and it's weird, like I was like talking to someone earlier today, forgot who it was already. And, you know, I always say that I got to Bitcoin late. I knew about Bitcoin when it was 50 cents, but I didn't buy Bitcoin till 2013, right? So I could have got into Bitcoin before Roger Ver. I knew all about it. Not all about it. If I knew all about it, I would have gotten in, but I knew about it. Like the WikiLeaks case in early 2011, like somewhere between December 2010 and like April of 2011 is when I found out about Bitcoin. And it was only like somewhere between 10 and 50 cents each. Now, I didn't do anything about it, but I could have. So I don't know where I would be today if I had bought, let's say, $50,000 worth of Bitcoin at 50 cents. I would be sitting on 100,000 Bitcoin. Would I now be, you know, fighting for user-activated soft fork, or would I be fighting for 2 megabyte blocks right now if I had 100,000 Bitcoin? Would my path through Bitcoin would have been different? I don't know. Nobody knows, right? Like it could have been me on the other side arguing with someone like me about what the current situation, right? So you just don't know. So to me, it feels like a lot of the OG Bitcoiners now think they know best over the engineers, even though the engineers may not have as much Bitcoin, okay? Kind of like, you know, the rich guy on a plane telling the pilot how to fly the plane. You know, something like that. So I don't know what's going to happen. Are they going to sell their coins? I don't know. What are they going to do? I don't know. Where else are they going to go? I think they're just like hoping for the best, like myself, right? Like it's not always about how much you have. It's what percentage of net worth you have as well. All right, next question. Should Bitcoin be a store of value? Well, it's not about whether it should or shouldn't be. That's an opinion, right? It's whether it is, whether people are treating it as such. I believe that Bitcoin, oh, okay, let me finish the question. Should Bitcoin be a store of value, peer-to-peer payment system, or both? I believe Bitcoin needs to be both. We have a store of value. It's called gold. Gold is an amazing store of value. Okay? It's a terrible investment, though, but it's a great store of value. Bitcoin needs to be more than both of them, right? Bitcoin not only needs to be a store of value, it needs to be a productive asset. Like Bitcoin needs to earn you more money than the S&P 500. Otherwise, you need to keep your money. Otherwise, the S&P 500 is a better store of value. Okay. The S&P 500, you know, is up 8% every year, going back to the Great Depression, cumulatively, plus dividends that you can reinvest, right? A lot of money could have been made by your grandfather putting all of his life savings into the S&P, into the Dow Jones, actually, at the time. So Bitcoin needs to be a store of value, and it needs to be a a peer-to-peer currency. Now remember, nothing has ever been able to achieve this. The dollar, the US dollar, is a great peer-to-peer currency. It's just a terrible store of value. Well, it's not a great peer-to-peer currency. Let me rephrase that. A dollar, it would be a great peer-to-peer value transfer if there were no money laundering laws. My biggest problem with the dollar is not inflation. My biggest problem with the Venezuelan peso, or what are they using over there? I think it's a peso. My biggest problem with the Venezuelan currency is the inflation. My biggest problem with the US currency is not the inflation. It's the money laundering laws. It's the fact that they can lock you up if they don't approve what you're doing with your money. That is my problem. If you remove the money laundering laws, the dollar is an amazing currency, is an amazing value transfer. Okay? Better than Bitcoin. It's the money laundering laws that's the problem. Now, Bitcoin is obviously a better store of value than the dollar. Okay? Because it doesn't have the kind of inflation that the dollar does, and it doesn't have, random people deciding what the dollar is going to do. Now, Bitcoin is also a better investment than the Dow Jones, which has probably been the best investment, in history. Stock market, always been the best investment. Real estate, not bad. Stock market, okay. Much better, all right? So the beauty of Bitcoin is that if Bitcoin is programmed right, if Bitcoin retains its properties, it has the chance to be all of those things. A better investment because it'll go up in value faster than the Dow Jones. A better store of value. Secure store of value, like gold in your vault. And a better peer-to-peer value transfer, because I don't see the money laundering laws going away anytime soon. And in order for Bitcoin to succeed, it kind of needs to be all of those things, because I don't want Bitcoin as a value transfer and Litecoin, I don't want Bitcoin as a store of value / investment and Litecoin as a value transfer. That's not what I want. And I don't think we're going to have that, which is why I'm a little, which is why to me, Litecoin ultimately is closer to Doge than it is closer to Bitcoin. Sorry, Charlie, that's just my long-term opinion. Maybe you can change my mind one day, or the world will change my mind, right? And I'll miss out on all those Litecoin gains. I don't know, but that's my view. All right, but Bitcoin has the potential to be all of these things. But if they're gonna start doubling the block size, if they're gonna hand it over to the miners, if our core developers quit, then it's gonna be none of those things, and I'm gonna go back to using the dollar as a value transfer. I'm gonna go back to gold for my secure protection that no one can steal from me, and I'm gonna go to the Dow Jones for my store of value investment. My Dow Jones is my store of value investment and my speculation, because I'll be actively trading. My gold is gonna be my, unconfiscatable product, as long as I don't tell people I have gold. Good job, Tone. And my US dollar is going to be my peer-to-peer value transfer. I just have to be real careful about, how I'm using the dollar. So because of the money laundering laws. I mean, that's my view. A long answer, but hopefully very thorough. If SegWit2x goes into effect, are core devs gone? It depends. All right, let me elaborate. Probably not, though. Let me not spread FUD. No, they're not going to be gone. They have thicker skin than that. Will the working group have it merged to core first? I'm not very familiar with the working group. Maybe I missed something last 48 hours. Also, big blocks are guaranteed if SegWit2x gets 80% of the hash before. No. Here's the last part of the question. Big blocks are guaranteed if SegWit2x gets 80% of hash before August 1st. No, absolutely not. Bigger blocks are not guaranteed at all. Bigger blocks are only guaranteed if the economic nodes, the nodes that are processing transactions, only if those nodes are running SegWit2x after August 1st, then big blocks become guaranteed, right? Or actually on the day, right? So there'll come a day, 3 to 6 months after SegWit activates, when you begin bigger blocks. It doesn't matter if 99% of hashing power is mining SegWit2x. If the economic nodes are not running SegWit2x code, there will not be bigger blocks. There won't be. Simple as that, right? So getting SegWit2x to give us SegWit is completely independent of bigger blocks. However, the more people agree to run SegWit2x, and the more people are comfortable with running SegWit2x code outside of the miners, the more likely we are to one day get bigger blocks. Okay, one day soon, sorry. By the way, our core dev team may one day agree to bigger blocks when they feel that it's safe. The reason that they're not is because they don't feel that it's safe. And you can call them, liars. You can call them, you can call them whatever adjective in the book. But I trust them for their honesty and competency. And if they tell me that it's not safe to have bigger blocks now, I will wait till they say, well, now the risk of a bigger block outweighs the risk of not having a bigger block, and the risk of a bigger block outweighs the potential risk of a contentious hard fork. Now, this is what the big blockers are saying is happening right now, but that's not true right now. They're completely wrong. Maybe in 3 years, maybe in 2 years, I don't know when, maybe in 10 years, I have no clue, maybe never. But there may come a time in the future when we need a bigger block. And when that happens, and if I'm convinced by the experts in the space, the people that I consider experts in the space, when they start making arguments that we need bigger blocks, I will listen to their arguments. I will listen to their expert advice. And I will also support bigger blocks then. But I am very against it now. Okay? So if the SegWit2x, it's a sliding scale. Look, if only the miners run SegWit2x and they give us SegWit, but the economic nodes don't actually run SegWit2x, our Bitcoin core developers are not going anywhere. They are here. The core developers are not here for the miners. They are here to make sure they're cooperating with the miners. But the core developers are here to give us the best Bitcoin they can. The most anonymous Bitcoin, like the most trustless Bitcoin, the most decentralized Bitcoin, okay? And I know it's not anonymous yet. And I know it's not fully decentralized right now. But, you can't just, you don't have a magic wand, right? Like when you scream and you hand over the reign, when you scream to the government, you have to do something. Oh, they'll do it. And then 5 years later, you're going to hate what they did. Like we can't do that right now. We can't scream. We need to do something and then hand over the doing to untrustworthy people. We might have to get it done slower, but we have to get it done safer. Okay? So our core developers leaving directly correlates to whether the community is running their code. The community, not the miners. Not the big miners, not the big conglomerate miners. They have their own agenda. They have their own agenda. Let me throw a wrench in here right now, right? Like I spoke to a couple of people today privately. They brought up some good points. Here's one of the points. BitMain is the biggest ASIC manufacturer for Litecoin. Isn't it now to BitMain's advantage to make a shitload of money by making people scared of Bitcoin and pushing everyone onto Litecoin? So all of these mining farms, like giant mining farms that are buying BitMain equipment, like BitClub, for example. BitClub buys most of their equipment from BitMain. Isn't it to BitMain's advantage to screw up Bitcoin and force a company like BitClub to buy all of their equipment for Litecoin now and go mining Litecoin? Look, these big conglomerates, these big ASIC manufacturers, these big mining farms, they have their own agenda, their own economic agenda. And Bitcoin is supposed to level the playing field to make sure there is a check and balance on everything. Okay? So you don't know what the insider incentives are, financial incentives from these big companies. You can't just hand them the keys to Bitcoin core development. They need to mine the safest Bitcoin code. And that code is provided by core. Okay? But as long as they can mine other implementations of the code, as long as it's compatible to what the economic nodes are running to process their mined tokens, to process their mined Bitcoin. If BitMain mines Bitcoin on a non-compatible code that economic nodes aren't running, they will have nobody to sell that Bitcoin to. That Bitcoin is worthless. They're going to have to hard fork. So as long as the economic majority is supporting Bitcoin Core and they're supporting the code that Bitcoin Core has written, they will continue to write this code. But if the economic nodes all of a sudden dump Bitcoin Core for like a week or two, right? Think of it this way, right? Like, for example, if you're dating a girl, right? If you're just starting to date a girl, you could be dating, a couple of other girls. Many people date multiple girls. You're not exclusive with one, right? But how is that one girl gonna feel if for like the next 2 weeks you only hang out with another girl, then you go back to her, right? Or how is your girlfriend gonna feel that you're gonna, you know what? I like this one better for the next 2 weeks. She's doing a little better for me right now. She's taking care of my needs. Let me go with her for a couple of weeks, and then I'm going to come back. Then I'm going to come back to you. I mean, that's kind of what's going on here, right? I mean, if you trust core, you trust core. If you're going to run somebody else's code, even for like 2 weeks, and then you're going to go back, what the hell? Like, what the hell? Right? Just think about it from like your girlfriend's perspective. I know there's a couple of girls watching me right now, so you can flip the situation. But that's kind of the idea, right? So the question is, how disrespectful to the core devs are you willing to be? Because if you're disrespectful beyond a certain line, why the hell are they going to program your shit next year? Give them a reason. Give them a reason. Now, a lot of them are holding Bitcoin, so they believe in Bitcoin, right? They may not be, Roger Ver rich in Bitcoin, but they're holding Bitcoin, right? Why else would they do this, right? They're holding Bitcoin. They're trying to make it the safest possible thing. But I can guarantee you this. If the core developers leave Bitcoin, they're sure in hell I'm going to hold it. They'll probably dump most of it. I mean, like if I know I would. So that's the view, right? So there's a fine line between using SegWit2x to do what's best for Bitcoin and going overboard and completely disrespecting a decentralized group of 100 people that got us here who are anonymous. right? And by the way, I showed the list of the Bitcoin Core people that programmed 0.14 Bitcoin Core client, and a bunch of those people are anonymous. So anyone that wants to, talk shit that it's some kind of an inclusive club, how can you say that? If your ideas are stupid, they're just stupid. You can always go and create an anonymous ID and they will let you contribute to Bitcoin Core until they also eventually realize your ideas are stupid. You can then, throw a tantrum and leave, but that's up to you. Core is not some, conspiracy. You can be an anonymous developer. Go do it. Go do it. All right, next. With Antbleed, who would trust running SegWit2x client? Well, they're independent, right? I mean, Antbleed was specific to BitMain's manufacturing. No one involved in that, as far as I know, is programming in SegWit2x. So they're two completely independent things. The question is, do you really want to trust a company that put Antbleed in if they have a fair amount of say in what's being coded into SegWit2x, right? Next. It seems that people running the economic nodes, such as, well, let me not name names. Wait, did I skip questions? Oh, my bad, guys. Oh, God. Oh, no, I've been off for like hours and I skipped questions. Oh, no. Okay. Is Charlie Lee Satoshi? No. Oh, God, you guys got to stop throwing names at me. I honestly don't think Ryan X Charles is going to succeed with yours network. Someone else is asking me if they should get into the consulting thing. To get into the consulting thing, you really need to have a bit of a competency in some. This is a question for everyone, not to the person asking the question. You really got to have a competency in what you're talking about, and I believe that I do. And I always check what the people want to talk to me about. And I also try not to consult with people that don't have much money. Like my service is really for higher net worth individuals. I'm not really here to scam anyone. Try it, see how many people you get. Doesn't hurt. What are your thoughts on Bitcoin future in a World War III scenario? That's a good way to hide your money. World War III is going to be difficult, right? Can nuclear weapons kind of kill everyone? Oh, do you not see the value in Decred? No, I haven't had time to look at Decred. I can't see value in something that I don't understand that I've never seen. I don't know if they had or didn't have a pre-mine. I know nothing about Decred, guys. I'm sorry. I have a little Bitcoin. I have a little Bitcoin situation right now that I'm dealing with. Talking about Decred right now is really not the time. I don't even like the fact that I mentioned its name. Will you support SegWit2x if Core adopts it after activation of SegWit? There is a 0% chance that is going to happen. Core, have you not seen what Greg Maxwell wrote? Sharing screen. Going to Twitter. Guys, you got to follow me on Twitter. I almost never retweet, so when I retweet something, it better be damn important. All right, look. I will never work on such a thing, and I believe that this is true for most other developers. He is talking, I can't highlight. He is talking about SegWit2x. Okay. your hypothetical is not really a possibility. So I don't even have to think about me having to decide whether I will or won't support SegWit2x. Now, I'll be very, very thrilled if SegWit2x avoids a chain split on August 1st, and the miners are running it, they give us SegWit, and then we're done with this whole mess. I'll be very, very pleased. Maybe I'll speak highly of the miners for a day. That has a higher probability than that. Okay, so that answers that question. Oh God, how many questions did I skip? Why it seems no one realized? Oh yeah, the whales. I did that question. Huh? Where am I here? Oh God, Rich, killing me. All right, let's get back on track here. Okay, I did that question. I did these questions. I did that question and bleed. Okay, let's move. Okay, I'm almost done here. It seems that people running the economic nodes, such as a blank person of a blank company that converts your coins from one to another, do not understand the dangers of SegWit2x. Is there something that can be done to help them change their minds? It doesn't seem like it. Like I've tried reasoning with that person and explain it to them. Probably not. I don't understand how you can even understand the dangers of something if you agreed to do it before knowing what you agreed to do, right? Like if you sign a document to run code before that code was even created, how do you then reason with that person that that code can be potentially dangerous? Okay, so you have a problem from the beginning. I think the only way some of these people will learn a lesson, and it will be a very expensive lesson, is if they run that code and it costs them the loss of not only their Bitcoin, but other people's Bitcoin. And I don't want that, because the moment you lose a little bit of other people's Bitcoin, most CEOs stole the money and ran, because those that didn't ended up in jail. So if you are running a company and your company is holding other people's Bitcoin and you lose 10% of those Bitcoins, your most optimal scenario, whether you are the most honorable person in the world, your best choice of action at this point is to steal 90% of the Bitcoin and disappear. Now, we will one day have technology to prevent this, but right now we do not. And I believe I saw some tweets this morning that Alphabay is not online. Let's see how that ends. Okay, but you cannot fault Big Vern for stealing the Bitcoin and running away, because he got hacked for a big chunk of the Bitcoin. So he can either admit it and potentially go to prison, or he can steal the rest of the Bitcoin and run away. I think he made the right choice. I might have done the same. That's why I don't hold other people's Bitcoin. Look, if you're going to go to jail anyway, you might as well take the millions and delay the jail term by as long as you can hide. It's just life, guys. You every day a gambling operator wakes up and says, do I want to continue doing business, or do I want to just steal everybody's money? All right, next. What does it mean that there are now 55% signaling BIP 141? Means it's too late. I mean, it's a little too late. I mean, maybe it means that people want SegWit and not big blocks. It means that 55% of, well, actually, I'm not even sure at this point if signaling for, I'm not sure at this point if I'm not sure what code they're signaling BIP 141 with. It's a tough question to answer, guys. It really is, right? Because you can be running 141 compatible code and signaling for 141. You can also be signaling, you can also be running BIP 91. I mean, it's in beta right now, so you can't actually run it, right? But this basically means that miners want SegWit. Miners want SegWit. Not actually, most miners don't, but some miners do. It means that SegWit has support, but it's not enough support to make it go smoothly, which is why we're dealing with either SegWit2x or BIP 148 user-activated soft fork on August 1st. All right, looks like the last question, and then I'll be done. Long video, Jesus. What's your opinion on countries like USSR and DPRK? So we're talking about Russia and is DPRK North Korea? I'm assuming. Getting into Bitcoin, does it concern you at all regarding control? No, it doesn't. Or illegit uses? No. No, I don't care what countries are involved. No, it doesn't concern me right now. What concerns me right now is making sure no all-star core developer quits. That's what concerns me. My second concern is to get SegWit in there as safely as possible. And that's it. All right. All right, guys. I think I need to cut this video. Go back here. All right. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm not sure where my hat is. I hope you all enjoyed. Those of you that are in the US, hope you all enjoyed your barbecues for the 4th of July holiday, our Independence Day, the US Independence Day. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your donations. Again, thank you for those that reached out for consulting. We talked about markets. Let me take a look at the price of Bitcoin right now because it was moving. We are moving into a 3-week high, which is kind of cool. Well, maybe not a 3-week high. Hey, what happened? When did we go higher? Oh, it's weird. Oh, on Bitfinex, that's the difference, right? So on Bitfinex, we are very... Oh, is it really that far away? 2630. Oh, yeah, my scale is off a little bit. Is that really only 2630? Oh, okay. We are approaching a... what do we got here? We are approaching a 2-week high, which is great. It's looking good. And yeah, stay with it, guys. Stay with it. Keep fighting. Keep fighting for that user-activated soft fork, okay? I got to share a screen. Close off on a picture here. I know a lot of people already tuned out. I'm going to close. Andreas wasn't happy about this. Hold on. Where's my Twitter? I eventually retweeted it. I really don't like... I don't even watch war movies. I don't even know what movie this is from. I don't even know if this is from the Band of Brothers, which I think was a series. I don't know if it's from that. I have no idea. But I thought this was a cool Photoshop job. In case people aren't aware who these people are, that's Slush on the left, myself, Andrew DeSantis, Francis out of Montreal Embassy, Adam Back, Eric Lombroso, Samson Mao, Unhappy Andreas back there, Gregory Maxwell, Peter Todd, and Luke Dash Jr. Luke Dash Jr. looks like a giant in this picture. He looks like the biggest guy here. In reality, that's not really true. But I thought this was a cool job. I thought it was neat. But yeah, like none of us like the war aspect of it, but I really enjoyed the picture. It was really cool. All right. Thought I'd just throw that out there. All right, guys. On this note, I will sign off. Oh, Slush, man. Awesome. Good job right there. You can choose your node right there. Good job on that. I don't retweet often. So if you can get me to retweet, that's impressive. Now, okay, that's also not a cue for everyone to tweet at me. But if I do retweet, that's usually impressive. And definitely check this out. That's kind of my view of SegWit2x. All right, guys. On this note, I will sign off. You can always pause that. And I'll see you all. What was today? Wednesday. I'll see you all over the weekend. If something big happens, I'll do another live stream. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys.